Have you ever wondered why some people attract wealth so easily while others struggle? Or have you been questioning what's holding you back from the wealth you deserve? You're doing all the things you were told to manifest money in your life. You're doing the meditations, you're doing the affirmations, you write in your gratitude journal every day, you burnt more sage than you know what to do with, you flipped through more tarot cards than a table games dealer, and you're wondering why the astrological stars just can't seem to line up for you to get rich. Well, guess what? Making more money doesn't have to do with techniques. It has to do with your frequency. In this video, I'm gonna guide you through the 5 steps of prosperity so you can unlock the wealth that's been a secret to you for so long. And it's easier than you think. I've taught these steps to my clients to help them close 1K, 4K, 6K sales and have 5-figure months. And if you wanna do the same, let's get into it. So what you need to understand firstly is that you have a purpose in your life. Nothing is brought into existence without purpose. Nothing is brought into reality without purpose. Now, 99% of the 8 billion people who live on this planet have no clue what their purpose is. And this is very detrimental to receiving wealth in your life because you will do things that are totally out of alignment with your purpose. You may make money. You may make a lot of money, but you're going to be bitter, resentful, and complaining all the time about your circumstances. And this is a toxic frequency that's going to keep you stuck or worse. The reason is that the universe will amplify whatever your frequency is. So if you're resentful, you will find more things in your life to be resentful about. This spills into other parts of your life and you don't even know it. So let's say you resent your job, but it pays the bills. And you just have this underlying angst and problematic feelings around the job. So you go home and you see your spouse and you've loved them for a long time, but for some reason, you just start to resent them. You start finding all the problems they have and then you resent them more and you start talking bad about them and you stop sleeping together, you stop going on dates, and then you've magically broken up and you have no clue how it happened.
Can't relate.
Definitely not. This is because you were out of alignment with your purpose. You were in a frequency of resentment and it was amplified throughout your life and started hitting other parts of your life. You don't want resentment and disdain running through all these different aspects of your life. And this all happened because you simply didn't know your purpose. You weren't on purpose. Well, Seth, how do I find my purpose? Let me tell you. This brings us to the first step of prosperity. Live out your values. Finding your purpose is how you stay aligned, and finding your purpose begins with finding your values. Well, Seth, how do I find my values then? Don't worry, I got you covered. I built a free tool for you to help you discover your top 3 soul-guided values. It's in the description below, and it's free. When you know your top 3 soul-guided values, you use them to unlock your purpose. And why is this value thing so important? Because you have been given values through multiple instances of programming in the world, and you don't even know about it. You got programming from your parents, from social media, from movies, from friends, from all sorts of places, and now you have no clue how you've ended up where you are. When other sources outside of yourself start to dictate your values, it puts you out of alignment with your natural God-given birthright of abundance. You may have been told to value family, for instance, but family may not be one of the priorities in your life, and now you're being made to feel guilty, and guilt is a repeller of wealth, and I talk about that in my AAA system video. So it's very important that you discover your values. So 1, you can actually find your purpose, and so you don't live your life doing something that won't let you reach your infinite potential. So the link is in the description for the Value Finder. Get it, do it, otherwise the 4 steps won't work. But don't leave the video yet, because it's better that you know the rest of the steps before you start the Value Finder. It's gonna help out your process a lot. So here's what you have to understand. The only way you make money is because you are of service to other people. This can be a service of your labor, a service of your mind, a service of something you built. So in the physical plane, you get rich by other people paying you for your services. Here's the thing. Everything that's purchased is a service in either convenience, in labor, in time, in wealth creation, or in knowledge. If you buy a car, the car is creating convenience in your life. You don't have to walk for 10 hours when you can get there in 1 hour. And remember, we used to take the bus for a long time. We were taking the bus for years, and it was hard, especially in the winter.
Very happy that you now have a car that I get to be the passenger queen of.
It's true. We have a car. She ain't never drove it once. Have you even touched the steering wheel?
Honestly, I experienced a life where I was driven everywhere I needed to go.
Sure.
That I don't ever want to go back to having to touch the wheel again.
True.
I might consider it if you got me a Yaris or something. But other than that, I'm probably
So you don't want to
still-
drive unless it's a $200,000 car.
And that's in case of like emergency.
That makes sense, though. We're going to actually get to why that works and why you think like that later. It's actually very important. I'm glad you said that. That wasn't scripted. All right. And y'all gonna see why. So the car manufacturer is providing you with the service of convenience around your time, your effort, and energy to get from point A to point B. And a lot of people think that services are things like cleaners or plumbers and stuff like that. But even a physical product is a form of service. This camera allows me to capture a moment. I put that moment into the computer and I edit it up and then I project it into the world with YouTube. I've literally gone through 4 services to make this one video for you to see: the camera, the laptop, the editing software, and YouTube. Back in the day, I would have had to write a letter with parchment paper and a quill feather dipped in ink and then attach that letter to a raven like Game of Thrones and hope that you get it. I'd have to be like, my wife, could you please send this with a raven to our allies? It should arrive in a fortnight.
That actually sounded so romantic.
Do you even know what I said?
Yes, but I got distracted by how poetically nice that sounded.
Lyrics, man. All right, y'all watching this? Men, y'all watching this? You gonna learn about manifestation, you gonna learn about making money, and you gonna learn about getting a woman. So stay tuned. But I bet you appreciate sending an email way more now that you don't have to send a freaking raven that could just get caught in a tree somewhere or make a family elsewhere and your letter never gets delivered. What you need to do is utilize your values, which guides you to your purpose so you can be of service to people in the world so you can earn more money. And the service that you provide, whether it be a product, whether it be your knowledge, whether it be scaling out your labor, will now be aligned with your values. So it will be aligned with the frequency of wealth in your life. Now listen, there's a common phrase that goes something along the lines of the only way to get rich is with other people's money. And that's true. In the physical plane, other people, they need to pay you in the physical plane. Otherwise, you're not gonna have money in your bank account. But that's not where making money begins. You need to pay yourself first. You are actually the one who pays you. And this brings us to the next step of prosperity. You must pay yourself first. Now, what do I mean by this? You may have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, or you may have watched a finance YouTuber or two, and they tell you to pay yourself first. Meaning, when you get paid or when you get money, basically save 10% of it for yourself. Now, this is not what I'm talking about, even though it's a good practice. That's actually the last step of paying yourself. And the problem, when you read these books or listen to these money people on YouTube, they're telling you the steps backwards, and it's not their fault. They just don't know what I'm about to tell you, even though they all do it. You need to understand that you are paid by God. You are paid by the all. You are paid by the source of creation in the spiritual plane. But you are responsible for getting this payment. So how do you get paid first before any money hits your bank account? Here's how. You need to understand that money begins in the mind. You must connect to the energetic feelings of what it would feel like to be making your ideal income. You need to envision what your life would be like and what you would do. What would your beliefs be? And then you need to feel those things and have those beliefs now. And what that exercise will do is increase your worthiness. I talk more about worthiness in my How to Charge What You're Worth Without Feeling Guilty video. And low-key, that's a slept-on video, huh? 200 views, less than 200 views. And it's one of the few videos I kept on my channel before I deleted over 100 videos. The people who watch that video, they're making money for free from watching that video. They're making money. So go watch that if you haven't watched it. So why do you need to increase your worthiness? Because you will never surpass what you feel you are worth. This is why some people win the lottery and they lose all the money in 2 years. One part is financial literacy and a discipline problem. And trust me, I know all about that. I spent all sorts of money in all sorts of ways that just gone now into the ether, but I learned. But that's just a physical realm manifestation of a lack of worthiness. So they didn't believe they were worthy of getting $5 million in one night. So the money leaves them. If you don't connect to the beliefs and the feelings you would have when you're making your dream income, you'll never feel worthy of it. And I charge my clients quite well because I've determined that I'm worthy of it. And I also get results, so that helps.
Yeah, I was literally going to say, I'm like, when people get advice from you or when they work with you, they always like 10x.
Yeah, everybody makes more money. 10x is a good way to put it, yeah, if not more. But listen, you already practice higher levels of worthiness in parts of your life outside of money, and you just don't realize it. So for instance, if you're a woman and you're feminine, you're beautiful, you're inspirational, you're valuable, right? So when some guy comes up to you and he's trying to chat you up, but he won't spend a little money on like a coffee date or a tea date, what do? You tell him, sorry, I have a boyfriend, in the hopes that he'll leave you alone. So why is this? Because you have worthiness. You know that you're worth at least a simple date. You're worth more, of course, but you get what I'm saying. And there's 3 big time emotions that will get in the way of you increasing your worthiness when it comes to money. And those are fear, guilt, and shame. If your emotional state around money taps into any of these emotions, you're gonna have some trouble. So how do you start increasing your worthiness so you can manifest more money? Well, the simplest way is to just do what you say you're gonna do. If you say you're gonna read 20 pages of a book today, just read them. Because one of the biggest things to crush your self-worth is lies. Not lies from other people, lies you tell yourself. Your mind keeps score. Your subconscious mind keeps score as well. So that's one of the simplest ways to start changing your worthiness for the better. Another way is your social circle, because frequencies are contagious. Someone who has a more potent frequency and a stronger masculine vector, and that doesn't mean they're more manly. Masculine in the language of the universe is an energy. I have a video about that too on Hermetic Gender. Someone who has a more potent frequency, meaning they're more certain in mind, along with a stronger masculine vector, is going to influence the frequencies around them. This is why a group has a leader, because they have more certainty in their frequency and a stronger masculine vector. So Steve Jobs talks about what people call the reality distortion field, which I teach at the Next Realm. So Steve Jobs wanted to get a glass that was hard to crack for the iPhone in 2006. So he reached out to Wendell Weeks, the CEO of Corning Glass. And Wendell told Steve about this amazing thing called Gorilla Glass. And Steve Jobs was sold on it. He's like, the iPhone needs Gorilla Glass. He said he wanted every ounce of Gorilla Glass that Corning Glass could produce in a 6-month time span. And what did Wendell tell him? He said, are you crazy? Can't do it. The logistics, the engineering, it's just not possible. And then Steve looked at him in the eye and said, don't be afraid. You can do this.
Can he though? Because I've dropped my iPhone before and that Gorilla Glass, whatever you want to call it, still broke.
Look, man, that's not the point. I'm getting to the point, all right? He said, don't be afraid. You can do this. And you know what happened? Guess what happened? Wendell got all the glass done in less than 6 months. Less than the time frame. Why? Because Steve Jobs' certainty and the potency of his frequency breached into the mind of Wendell, and it distorted his reality, and he did things he didn't think he could do. And when you learn to do this, you can plant ideas in people's heads that better their lives and change their reality. And I teach you how to do it in the Next Realm. So link is in the description below if you want to learn how to do that. But why was Jobs able to do that? Because he had a high level of worthiness. He was like, Wendell thinks it's impossible, but my service, the iPhone, deserves the impossible. So we're gonna make it happen. You gotta feel and believe you are worthy of receiving what it is you desire. And that has to do with feminine energy, the energy of receiving. If you don't open yourself up to receiving what you desire, you won't get it. So increase your worthiness, embrace the receiving nature of the feminine. And I mentioned masculine energy before, in particular, the potency of a masculine vector. But what do I mean by this? This is your ability to project energy, project a message, project ideas, and embrace communication to get people to want your service. This is the fourth step of prosperity. Be seen. Now listen, one of the greatest lies told to people is build it and they will come. So let me ask you something. You're going to go make a shea butter business, right? You're going to go study how to make the shea butter. You're going to go source the materials. You're going to go design the packaging for it. You're going to get the packaging. You're going to go whip the shea butter in your house by hand. You're going to package the shea butter. And then you're going to sit in your house and say, I built it, so they will come. Come on now. You made some great shea butter though.
Yeah, I was about to say this is feeling awfully personal.
But you sold the shea butter. you sold the shea butter. You let people know about the shea butter.
Probably because a part of me selling it was me creaming my skin.
Oh yeah, that is true. Damn. All right. Anyways, you need to be able to project some sort of message into the world so that people buy from you. And this is part of Hermetic universal law, the law of gender, particularly masculine energy, which is the energy of willpower and projection. When your message is strong enough and speaks to the right person and you're aligned because you know your values and they realize you can help them, guess what happens? You get paid. As long as you've developed a way to receive the money, which is feminine energy, mentally and physically. So you've mentally been able to receive it because you feel more worthy now and it's aligned with your values. So now it's just the physical part. Are you getting cash? Is it a checkout page online? Is it a direct deposit? Is it crypto? How are you getting the money? So if you've carried out the 4 steps that I mentioned so far, you know your values to find your purpose, you're of service to others, you pay yourself first by increasing your worthiness, and then you project a message into the world, that just leaves us with 1 step, the most important step. What is it? Well, here you go. The 5th step of prosperity is to stay aligned. Remember I talked about having a potent frequency? If you watch my video on frequency, you'll know that frequency is a prolonged state of vibration. And prolonged is the key word here. It's the duration of the vibration that creates a frequency. How often does it happen? And the more you stay aligned with your purpose, you have certainty about what you offer people. You have certainty in your self-worth, and you have certainty in your message. This is what makes your frequency potent. And you see, when your frequency is potent, it's like a sword that slashes through any obstacles. It slashes through the ups and downs of life. It cuts down all the blocks and attracts your desired reality to you. And that is how you use the 5 steps of prosperity. Now you know the steps, but there's a little sneaky mental barrier in the way that will prevent this all from working. So to make sure that doesn't happen to you, be sure to check out this video to conquer that problem. And one more thing before I sign off. On December 21st, 2024, I'm hosting the Barrier Breaker Workshop, and you'll get to ask 1 question you're struggling with that's keeping you from manifesting wealth, fulfillment in your life, and I'll answer it for you on a live group call on December 21st. Now, I normally charge $300 or more for something like this, but you can join for $25 and there's 50 spots only. From me and wifey. Peace.